it's on the ground yet, but you can barely make it.
Well, the tombstone was found by a man using his metal detector on a demolition site.
Local media say that authorities have collected water samples to
What the hell is going on? Nobody knows what's happening to America. The sky's changing color. Rivers are boiling. Ancient rocks are bursting from the earth like someone's popping the lid on the planet's memories. And everything, it all lines up with words written thousands of years ago. Scientists call it climate change, but people on the street call it signs. Some hear sounds like trumpets. Some see human-shaped lights in the middle of storms. Some say, the ground's shaking because the Lord's about to come back. It's not just natural phenomena. Every shift has a rhythm, like a wake-up bell. What's happening in the sky, in the water, under the ground? It's all telling the same story, but nobody dares say it out loud. Is this just a coincidence? Or a chain of warnings before the day the chosen one returns, when the elect gets taken up and the world sinks into chaos? It all starts with strange little events, but put them together and you'll see. Earth is speaking. And the question is, how much time do we have left before every prophecy becomes reality? If you've ever felt this world is changing in a way that's not normal, come with us to the end of this story. Don't forget to like and share so others can see what's really going on. Because sometimes one small action from you can wake up a sleeping soul. And if you believe nothing's random, subscribe so you don't miss a single sign. Every video is a piece of the big picture of heaven's painting. Now, take a deep breath. Keep your mind calm. What you're about to hear isn't just news. It's a warning written from the very beginning. Follow me through every phenomenon, from the sky, the land, to the ocean floor, to hear what nature's saying to humanity before he speaks for the last time. Now, let's dive into 8 bizarre phenomena that have shaken the world and how they eerily match prophecies with 100% accuracy. First strange phenomenon, sign in the sky, light of the firekeeper. Amid a time when the world keeps seeing weird sky events, a video from Massachusetts left millions stunned. In a raging storm with constant thunder and lightning, a glowing human figure suddenly appeared in the clouds, standing still, silent, and then vanishing like it was never there. No one knows if it was an illusion or a message from somewhere higher being sent down. That light didn't flicker like lightning or flash like charged reflections. It had a shape, clear outlines, like a person in a cloak, surrounded by a soft but intense halo that gave everyone who saw it chills. The video spread like wildfire on social media, with thousands commenting they'd seen the firekeeper in the storm. Meteorologists later chimed in, saying it might be a sprite, a type of high-altitude lightning. But something doesn't add up. Sprites usually move, while this image stayed perfectly still for over 3 minutes, long enough for multiple cameras to capture the same moment from different angles. That left scientists baffled. No unusual electrical data in the area, no light interference that could recreate such a sharp human form. The more they analyzed, the quieter they got. And when reason can't explain it, faith starts to spark. In the book of Ezekiel, the prophet described his vision. I saw a figure like a man made of fire, glowing from the waist up and from the waist down. Ezekiel 1:27. That description, over 2,000 years old, suddenly came alive in a 21st century storm. Is it just a coincidence, or a sign that the sky is repeating biblical language with fire's own light? People call him the firekeeper, a symbol of fading faith reignited in chaotic darkness. Maybe this isn't just nature, but the first warning, a reminder that heaven is still watching, still testing human faith before the true light returns. And when the sky gives that sign, we're left with one question. Is this the flame foretelling his return, or the last light before darkness swallows humanity? The second strange phenomenon, mysterious, trumpet-shaped tornado in Oklahoma. right in the middle of Oklahoma's flat plains, where the skies used to nothing but wind and thunder. A tornado rolled in that left scientists and locals alike speechless. It wasn't just the destruction, it was the bizarre shape. The funnel's core looked exactly like a giant trumpet, blasting straight up into the heavens. And the real spine chiller? The sound coming from it. Not wind, not thunder, but a resonant call echoing from the clouds. People there say the sky went black, and then they heard it, long, vibrating, low, like a warning. One guy said, "I thought someone was playing a trumpet, but when I looked up, all I saw was the funnel flashing with lightning." The videos show sound waves pulsing out from the center, steady and rhythmic, instantly reminding folks of the trumpet from heaven in Revelation. Scientists jumped on it right away. Radar picked up a 27-second sound wave, something never recorded in any EF5 tornado in history. Every measurement said this wasn't random wind noise, a deep, even, low-frequency tone, like a stable source right in the eye of the storm. They tested ideas about pressure, interference, or electrical noise, but no model could recreate it. While researchers puzzled over graphs and waveforms, believers saw a familiar warning. The book of Nahum says, "The Lord has his way in the whirlwind and in the storm." Nahum 1-3. To them, a trumpet in the tempest wasn't a coincidence. It was a call, God's breath blowing through the world, stirring souls still asleep. Because if a storm is just weather, why the trumpet shape? If the sound is pure chance, why does it ring out like an ancient summons? Every question points the same way. Maybe the wind has become heaven's language, and we're only just starting to hear it. In an age of machines, explanations, and formulas, there are still moments that remind us something lies beyond measuring. And when trumpet-shaped winds sweep across America, maybe heaven isn't just warning about the weather, but waking hearts that have been silent too long. The third strange phenomenon, the ancient inscribed stone with no explanation in Louisiana. People still think Louisiana is just swamps, water snakes, and sleepy little towns baking under the southern sun. But then, right in the middle of a quiet garden, something pushes up out of the ground. A stone slab covered in weird symbols, half Latin, half Hebrew, coated in green moss, like it's been asleep for thousands of years. Nobody knows where it came from. Nobody's ever seen that kind of rock around here. And when the archaeologists try to figure out its origin, all they can say is, it doesn't belong here. The words carved on the surface, faded as they are from centuries of wear, still spell out one short line that gives a lot of people chills. The earth will give back what it hid. It sounds like a warning, or maybe a promise, that the past never really dies. It's just waiting for the right moment to come back. Roman scholars swear they've never seen a slab that mixes these two sacred languages side by side, the language of empire and the language of covenant. They tested the stone. The results show it's made of a marble, like the kind that only comes from Cappadocia, Turkey, halfway around the world from Louisiana. How does a 2,000-year-old artifact carrying traces of the Near East end up in the middle of America? No shipping records, no dig marks, just a slight crack in the soil, as if the ground itself decided to open up and hand back something that had been buried way too long. The archaeology world is stumped, but for anyone who believes the Bible, that line brings to mind Revelation 20:13. The sea gave up the dead that were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead that were in them. Could this be a reminder that the time of revelation is getting close? That everything once buried, sins, power, the secrets of history, will all be brought into the light? The faint symbols carved around the edge, under UV light, seem to form a spiral pointing upward, like the swirl of rebirth. Some scholars say it's a sign of an ancient burial rite, where the dead were promised they'd rise again with the final light. But if this slab really is a promise from long ago, then who sent it here? And why now? Maybe, in an age when people are slowly forgetting their roots, the earth is speaking for heaven. When the ancient stone rises, It doesn't just wake up history, it wakes up the sacred memory humanity's been trying to bury. Because once the ground starts giving back what it kept, the day the Lord returns might not be far off. The fourth strange phenomenon, the mysterious blood river in Mississippi. Mississippi, the land of blues music and gentle rivers winding through fields of snow-white cotton. But no one could have imagined that this very place would become the epicenter of a phenomenon that left both scientists and the religious reeling. One morning after a heavy rain, locals looked down into the riverbed and saw the usually crystal-clear water had turned a deep, blood-red crimson. Dead fish floated everywhere along the banks, the air thick with a fishy stench. They said, "The water's breathing like there's a soul writhing down below." Scientists rushed in to take samples and analyze them. They found red algae, the same organism that's turned a few lake colors before, but here, its concentration was way beyond any natural limit. What's more, the phenomenon didn't stop at one stretch of river. It spread across nearly 60 miles, through multiple tributaries, as if guided by an invisible hand. It can't just be a biological reaction, one environmental expert admitted, because there's no natural condition that could make algae explode like this. The old folks around here recalled the story from Exodus 7:20. When Moses raised his staff, the Nile's waters turned to blood, signaling the start of the plagues. Others brought up Revelation 16:3, and the sea turned to blood like that of a dead person, and every living thing in it died. They stared at the Red River, then looked up at the hazy sky, whispering, "Could it be happening again?" When cameras captured footage of the water shifting color in the middle of a bright morning, online viewers couldn't look away. Some comments said, "If you slow it down, you'll see waves of deep red rising in pulses, like a heartbeat." Someone wrote, "Maybe the earth is crying. But if the earth is crying, why? Because of human sin? Or because it's witnessing once more the spiral of judgment about to begin?" Science keeps hunting for the cause, but every explanation stalls at anomalous. No one dares confirm it, and no one dares deny it. Because in this world, when water turns to blood and the life in it slowly dies, all that's left is one question echoing from ancient times. When judgment comes, who can stand? And perhaps Mississippi is just the first warning. When rivers start changing color, the sky might be getting ready to speak too. Because the prophecy is clear. Before he returns, the earth will tremble, the waters will run red, and humanity will be called by name. The fifth strange phenomenon, two mysterious comets crossing in the sky. Some nights the sky seems to speak. No thunder, no dark clouds, just a strange light is enough to silence millions as they watch. In the vast emptiness of space, two comets, Swan and Lemon, rushed in from opposite directions, and at the exact moment the Orionid meteor shower peaked, they crossed, forming a blazing X, like a cross hanging in the heavens. The sight lasted barely over a minute, but cameras, telescopes, and countless eyes all caught it. NASA confirmed the odds of this alignment were under 0.001%, practically impossible. Two orbits millions of kilometers apart somehow intersected precisely in Earth's line of sight, right as meteors fell like silver rain. Plenty of scientists admitted, the universe sometimes creates coincidences the human mind can't fully grasp. But to many with faith, it wasn't coincidence. It was a sign from heaven. Revelation 8:10 says, "A great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch. That night, two comets crossed like twin torches, lighting the sky as if stamping a seal before humanity's eyes. On one side, Swan's pure white glow, called the Swan, symbolizes purity and mercy. On the other, Lemon's pale, ashen yellow, sign of warning and judgment. Where their paths met, people saw a fiery cross, the intersection of love and justice, redemption and punishment. On social media, millions shared the images at lightning speed. Could this be a reminder that, in an age when humanity has lost its way, Heaven chose a sign bright enough to wake even sleeping souls? Could light and darkness meeting be a forewarning of the final convergence, when mercy and judgment appear together in the sky? If earlier signs came from earth, water, wind, this time, the heavens themselves spoke. And perhaps, when two comets crossed, the line between time and eternity grew thin. For every prophecy points to one thing: he is coming soon. The sixth strange phenomenon: discovery of an ancient temple beneath the Grand Canyon, a mystery still unsolved. Amid the deep red rock walls of the Grand Canyon, seen as the ancient heart of America, explorers stumbled onto a secret the world had never heard of. A dark, narrow entrance led them to walls carved with strange symbols, some Egyptian in style, others ancient Hebrew letters. Two civilizations separated by an ocean, yet both present deep inside American soil, something that seemed impossible. But that wasn't the most shocking part. In the deepest chamber of the cave, they found a large stone slab engraved with the image of a cherubim, the guardian angel described in the book of Exodus and Revelation, an image tied to the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred object said to hold the presence of God himself. The big question hit immediately. Why would a symbol of ancient Israel appear in the heart of America, a place with no recorded history connected to the Holy Land? When the expedition sent their report to the Bureau of Archaeology, the entire area was quickly sealed off. All documents, all photos vanished from public records. A few witnesses said they were told to stay quiet for national security reasons. Since then, no one has been allowed near that cave. For many, that silence is the clearest confirmation. What they found could shake the very foundations of human history. Bible scholars say that if this discovery is real, it might prove what was foretold in Luke 8:17. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. Is the earth itself opening its mouth, revealing what people once tried to hide? Are sacred traces from the time of the prophets slowly being allowed by heaven to surface, right when humanity has lost its faith? From Egypt to Israel, then across the ocean to the Grand Canyon, the path of these symbols no longer seems random. Every carved line, every stone slab feels like it's telling a story about the return of the divine. And maybe this isn't just an archaeological dig, but a wake-up call from deep in the earth, reminding us, before the final great light appears, everything hidden will be brought into the open. When people dig deep into the ground, they're not just uncovering history, they might be touching prophecies that have slept for thousands of years. The seventh strange phenomenon: mysterious ancient Hebrew inscriptions on stones in Utah and the Appalachians burst. Amid the arid deserts and wild mountain forests of America, two ancient stone slabs were suddenly discovered and immediately silenced the archaeological community. One stands isolated in Utah, the other hidden deep in the Appalachians, thousands of miles apart, yet both carved in the same ancient language, ancient Hebrew. On the stone surfaces, just 3 words, but enough to send chills down your spine: judgment and mercy. Between those 2 words is the symbol of an all-seeing eye, staring straight into the void, an image the Bible calls shamar, meaning to guard. No crude chisel marks or modern restoration, just the patina of time worn smooth, proving they've lain there for thousands of years. Geological analysis dates both slabs to over 3,000 years old, far earlier than any civilization ever recorded in North America. The question arises: who carved them? And why does the language of ancient Israel appear in places where no Jewish foot had ever trod? Some archaeologists fall silent. Others admit, if these aren't forgeries, all of human history will have to be rewritten. Because between civilizations thought to be utterly separate, there may once have been a sacred thread connecting them, something modern man is only now beginning to touch. In the Bible, 2 Chronicles 16-9 says, "For the eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to him. Could these two slabs be a sign of that very verse? A reminder that the Creator is still watching, still guarding every land, every soul, even if humanity has forgotten him. One stone reads, judgment, the other mercy. Two opposing halves of the same message. Light and darkness coexist, and mankind is free to choose its path. Perhaps, just when humanity sinks into chaos, these stones emerge, like a final warning that the eye of heaven has never closed. When the rocks themselves speak, the first words they utter are not in human tongue, but in the voice of the one gazing down. The eighth phenomenon, a new miracle in Antarctica, where the ice is blooming. In the place considered the dead land of the planet, Antarctica, the only things that ever existed were ice and freezing winds. But recently, scientists have been stunned to see strange green patches spreading across the eternal ice. From the air, they look like flowers blooming on the white ground. But the closer you look, the more chilling it gets. Their spreading speed follows no known biological law. Those clusters of moss and microplants are growing 10 times faster than climate models allow. Areas that used to be frozen year-round now have warm water flows and melting ice in spiral patterns, as if some mysterious energy source is breathing new life into the earth. At first, scientists thought this was a result of global warming, but when the data was cross-checked, a paradox emerged. Average temperatures in Antarctica aren't rising accordingly. In other words, what's happening isn't simply due to climate. Some geobiologists admit that the rate of change in Antarctica far exceeds every predictive model. They describe the scene as if the Earth is automatically regenerating in places that were once frozen, but not in a natural way. In some spots, the ice cracks open, as if it's breathing, revealing bright-colored geological layers never seen before. People are calling this phenomenon Antarctic bloom, ice blooming. For many believers, that image is no coincidence. Psalm 24, 1 inch, the Bible states, "The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it." If everything is in His hands, then when the land begins to shift out of order, it's not just natural change, it's a warning. Could the Creator be showing the world, when humans disrupt heaven's laws, the earth itself will change in response? From those tiny moss flowers on the ice, we can see a greater sign that creation is preparing for heaven's intervention. When ice, the symbol of stillness and death, suddenly bursts into bloom, it's time for humanity to ask, what is truly being awakened? Perhaps it's not the earth that's blooming, but heaven speaking, signaling that the world's winter is about to end and the season of judgment is drawing near. From sky-tearing whirlwinds, rivers turning to blood, to the ancient silent slab rising in Louisiana, each phenomenon seems to be weaving a strange cosmic symphony. No longer isolated events, but echoes of a grander program, where every element in creation is joining in a unified call. It feels like Earth is no longer silent, but speaking on behalf of the one who made it. Fire erupts in mountains, winds howl across oceans, ice blooms in the frigid Antarctic wilderness, stars align into a cross in the sky, all resounding in a common language, warning and awakening. If humans call it natural phenomena, the Bible calls it signs of the end times, when the whole creation groans, awaiting redemption. Romans 8:22. The universe, somehow, is suffering with humanity and awaiting an inevitable rebirth. Looking back at everything that's unfolded, it's hard to believe it's all just coincidence. From sky to Earth's core, from ancient stones to ocean waves, everything revolves around one axis, the axis of the Word. What seemed disconnected connects into a complete picture. When the human soul reaches its darkest limit, creation begins to mirror that fracture outwardly. The ground no longer stays silent. Water changes color, ice cracks, fire rises, as if the whole world is praying in unison or crying for help. And if we listen, behind every sound of nature, a deep, distant voice still echoes, "Return." A call from the depths of creation, where life began and where God will return. Those wonders don't come to terrify, but to awaken, not to destroy, but to prepare. Because when light and darkness coexist in a single moment, that's when history turns the page. And the question left for each of us, not when these events will end, but are we truly hearing that warning, or still standing motionless in our own storm? The sounds echoing across the globe, landslides, roaring seas, falling stars, are no longer coincidences. They are the heartbeat of the earth, pounding in the throes of labor. As the Bible foretold in Matthew 24:29, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky. Those ancient words are now unfolding before humanity's eyes. We are living at the intersection of history and prophecy. With each passing day, the veil between the seen and unseen grows thinner. From stars shifting course, to blood-red seas, to cracking earth, everything is crying out in unison, "Stay awake, for the hour is near," not as a threat, but as a call from creation itself. From the one who quietly watches humanity lost in delusion. This is no longer a matter of private faith. When strange winds sweep through, cities choked with smoke, when ice melts at the North Pole and fires rage in ancient forests, all creation groans together, awaiting redemption. As Romans 8:22 declares, the earth is crying out, not to destroy us, but to wake us from our long sleep. Perhaps humanity has never been closer to the edge of the return. Prophetic words are no longer metaphors, they are facts, a chain of signs blazing across sky and land. Every upheaval is not just nature's doing, but a mirror reflecting the human soul, where darkness and light wrestle daily. Yet amid the noise, his voice remains gentle. Do not fear, come back. No one is forgotten in heaven's plan. No matter how far you've strayed, pause, look up, and pray. His light is still waiting. Now is the time to wake up. Let go of resentment, indifference, and pride that darken the world. Trust in the Lord, for only in Him will your heart find true peace. Prepare a pure soul, not with grand words, but with small, daily acts. Start with what's closest: a sincere apology, a warm family meal, a hand extended to someone in pain. These seemingly small things are the foundation stones rebuilding the world, where love is restored, where compassion is rekindled. Every quiet act of kindness is a prayer rising to heaven. Pray each night, not out of fear, but gratitude, for we still have time to return. Share love like seeds on good soil, so when the Lord returns, He finds in your heart a blooming garden, not barren ground. Time is running out. The signs are not just warnings, they are opportunities. Opportunities for humanity to be made new, for every soul to be revived. And before the earth falls silent again, before the sky closes, open your heart to hear the whisper of the one who made all things. Come back, for the kingdom of heaven is near. Then, even if storms rage outside, your heart will be at peace, knowing the light never fades. He promised, and that promise is closer than ever. Stay awake, love deeply, and be ready, for when heaven calls your name, only those who keep light in their hearts will hear it clearest. And if you're hearing these words, it's not by chance. You may be the one chosen to wake others. Spread this message through actions, words, and the way you live each day. For sometimes, salvation begins not with miracles, but with a heart that loves and stays awake. Listen, for the call from creation is resounding, and this time, it may be the last. If you feel that call deep in your soul, join us in spreading this light. A like, a share, or subscribing isn't just a small act. It's how you help awaken lost hearts. Stay with us, so every video isn't just a story, but a journey back to the faith, hope, and love that God is still pouring out on humanity.
In the sky, as you can see, this is not a filter. That is
The sky is shifting, and nobody can deny it. Lights streaking against the orbit, pillars of fire flaring in the dead of night, trumpet blasts echoing from the void. It's all hitting at once, like the heavens are gearing up for a grand return. The Bible put it plain. When the signs appear in the sky, the Son of Man won't be far behind. Since the dawn of creation, we've looked up for answers from the Creator. Every star, every eclipse, every blaze of light has made us wonder, is He trying to tell us something? But never in modern times have the mysteries piled up like this. Crosses glowing in the clouds, spirals twisting in the mist, invisible echoes leaving the whole world stunned. Is it just coincidence? Or are the ancient warnings finally coming due? If the sky really is speaking, do we still have time to listen? If you feel what's happening up there is more than weather, help us get the word out. A like, a share, a subscribe doesn't just keep you in the loop for the next sign. It wakes others up to look at the sky with fresh eyes. Because who knows? Right in that moment we stop, listen, and dig in, another sign might be slipping into view. So let's dive deeper. What the Bible actually says about signs in the sky, and why they're showing up now, exactly as foretold. Before we dive into the strange phenomena unfolding across the sky right now, let's first look at the biblical foundations. The prophecies spoken thousands of years ago that foretold events beyond human understanding. What's happening in the heavens today isn't random. The Bible laid it out clearly millennia ago. A sequence of signs would appear as the end drew near. And remarkably, one by one, they seem to be coming true in our lifetime. When Jesus spoke of the last days, He wasn't being metaphorical. In Matthew 24-29:30, He said, "The sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and then the Son of Man will appear in the clouds with great power and glory." That's not just a warning. It's a prophetic roadmap of cosmic upheaval before His return. Luke 21:25-28 echoes the same imagery. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. People will faint from terror at the roaring and tossing of the sea. Revelation 6:12-14 adds, "The sun turned black like sackcloth. The moon became blood red, and the stars fell to earth." These passages aren't isolated, they're synchronized. A chorus declaring, "The universe will shake before the Son of Man returns." These images are both natural and divine. On one level, they describe real physical events: solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, meteor showers, even rare astronomical phenomena. But deeper still, they reveal nature as the voice of the Creator, heralding a pivotal moment in salvation history. The Old Testament prophets heard the same warnings. In Joel 2:30-31, the Lord declares, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and columns of smoke. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and dreadful day of the Lord." This isn't poetic language, it's a foretelling. Isaiah 13:10 says, "The stars of heaven and their constellations will not show their light. The rising sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light." And in Amos 8-9, the Lord proclaims, "On that day I will make the sun go down at noon and darken the earth in broad daylight." All these point to the same truth. The lights of heaven will dim when the Son of Man is about to appear. In Scripture, the sky isn't just space, it's God's stage. Whenever He moves in human history, nature responds. The sea parted for Israel. The earth quaked when Christ breathed His last. The clouds blazed at His resurrection. Heavenly signs, then, are both a warning and a confirmation that His hand still turns the wheel of history. When something happens, like a blood moon, falling stars, strange auroras, or a total solar eclipse, people rush to scientific explanations. And sure, science can describe, measure, predict orbits. But what science can't do is interpret the sky's message. A solar eclipse might just be the moon blocking the sun. But if it happens at a pivotal moment, if it lines up with prophecies spoken thousands of years ago, then maybe it's not a coincidence. When nature and scripture converge, something beyond human calculation is at play. And maybe that's why these recent signs leave so many unsettled, even trembling. Not because they fear eclipses or meteors, but because deep down they sense something coming, a shifting of heaven and earth, just as it was written long ago. If these prophecies are unfolding, then today's sky isn't just scenery, it's a message to humanity. The time is near, and the Creator is stepping out of the unseen, ready once more to appear in the clouds with great glory. And now, you and I are stepping into the next leg of this journey together, the strange phenomena that defy human understanding, known only to the divine. The first phenomenon, the mysterious lights and the cross in the sky. That night, a glowing cross suddenly blazed across the Jerusalem skyline. No one had a clue what was happening. Hundreds just stared up in silence, trembling. The footage blew up online, then popped up in the US, Europe, Asia, 3 continents, one symbol, all within a single week. It got people wondering, could this be the sign the Bible talks about? The markers before the Son of Man returns to the clouds. In Luke 21:25-28, Jesus said, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud." Those words hit differently in a world already on edge. Scientists chalked it up to light refraction, ice crystal reflections, or atmospheric illusions. But here's the weird part. Why a cross? The ultimate symbol of faith. Why do these things show up right when the world's teetering on the brink? Wars, disasters, faith in freefall. Witnesses said they didn't feel scared. They felt called. A pull from above, not below. Goosebumps and something indescribable, like the sky was blinking a message just for us. Notice the pattern. Those lights always point upward. Pillars shooting straight through clouds, halos ringing the moon, lightning etching crosses mid-air. It's like the heavens are yanking our gaze skyward, forcing us to look past the mess down here and face what's coming. In Joel 2:30-31, God says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and billows of smoke." When the sky lights up, when crosses burn in the dark, maybe that's the fire and smoke Joel saw millennia ago. In Scripture, the sky isn't just space. It's God's stage. Every time He moves, nature reacts. The pillar of fire leading Israel out of Egypt, sun going dark at the crucifixion. And now, crosses glowing at night. Doesn't that scream He's coming back? Some roll their eyes, call it coincidence. But in the Creator's plan, is anything random? These are coded signals. Only those still carrying the light of faith can read them. If these lights are warnings, then we're standing in the twilight zone, between the end of the old and the dawn of the new. A reboot in progress, a promise to cash in. Ask yourself, next time you look up and see a cross in the clouds, will you call it weather or the first ping of the return getting closer? The second phenomenon, blood moons and the tetrad of lunar eclipses aligning with Jewish feasts. In the hush of midnight, the moon suddenly turns a deep, bloody red. It's not the soft pink of dusk. This is a thick, ominous crimson that stains the sky like smoke from a distant fire. People look up and shiver, even knowing it's just an eclipse. Something stirs unease deep inside, as if the heavens are sounding a warning. Throughout history, a blood moon has been seen as an omen. What stunned the world, though, was the string of 4 total lunar eclipses in 2014, 2015, each one falling exactly on a major Jewish holiday, Passover or Sukkot, not off by a single day. The odds feel impossible. For Jews, these aren't just rituals. They're living memories of God's covenant, moments when He showed His power and led His people out of bondage. When blood moons shadowed those sacred days, whispers began. Could this be the sign for the covenant people the Scriptures foretold? In Joel 2:31, the prophet wrote over 2,500 years ago, "The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." Now, With modern cameras capturing 4 blood moons in a row, that ancient verse feels alive again, pulsing in our high-tech age. Science calls it orbital mechanics and light scattering. But millions insist nature doesn't do coincidence. Every blood moon has coincided with upheaval, wars, plagues, market crashes, fractured faith. Is the sky counting down, each crimson glow a wake-up call? In Jerusalem, thousands of Jews stood atop the ancient walls, praying as the moon changed hue. Many wept, convinced it was a sign for Israel, a reminder of the old promise that the Lord would return to the land of the covenant. And sure enough, after that tetrad, the Middle East kept hitting historic turns. Surprise peace deals, sudden flare-ups of violence, everything circling that tiny strip of land as if Jerusalem were the bullseye of history. Some shrug and say it's just a cycle. Maybe. But perhaps, in God's design, cycles are his vocabulary. Every blood moon nudges us to remember. Time isn't endless, and what was foretold is drawing closer than ever. The next time the moon bleeds red, you won't just see an astronomical event. You'll hear a warning, a heavenly bell tolling. The hour is near. The third phenomenon, unexpected trumpet sounds echoing across humanity. The sky doesn't feel as silent anymore. These bizarre noises keep popping up out of nowhere in the middle of the air, with zero warning or clear explanation. Folks everywhere are looking up, getting chills, and wondering, are these the trumpets the Bible warned about, finally blaring out over a world that's fast asleep? From Canada and Ukraine to the US and Indonesia, hundreds of videos capture this deep, rumbling sound, like metal grinding together or a trumpet blasting from the clouds. Some call it sounds from heaven, others dismiss it as fake online crap. But when it lines up with meteor showers, asteroids, and wild atmospheric shifts, that uneasy feeling in people's guts just keeps growing. Science tries to explain it away. Maybe atmospheric waves or echoes from geological activity. But the real question is why it's happening way more often now, and why it hits us like a wake-up call. The overlap between hard data and ancient prophecies, could that really just be coincidence? In Revelation chapters 8-9, 7 angels get 7 trumpets, and each blast unleashes chaos on earth. Fire raining into the sea, waters turning bitter, darkness swallowing everything. When those fireballs tear across the sky, when that eerie rumble rolls down from the clouds, believers can't help asking, is this the first trumpet? Eyewitnesses say it's this mix of terror and fascination. Some burst into tears. Others just froze in place. They have no idea what it is. They just know something massive is closing in. Like the earth itself is stirring awake, like heaven's knocking on humanity's door. If you look at it through eyes of faith, every coincidence starts to feel like a nudge. From shooting stars slashing the night to sounds piercing the atmosphere, they might all be harmonizing with that Bible message. Stay awake, because the Son of Man will come at an hour you least expect. Matthew 24-44. To scientists, sure, it's just normal physics. But to those who are truly listening, it's a call from above, terrifying, yet sacred. And maybe the scariest part isn't the sound itself. It's the silence in our hearts before that final trumpet blows. The final phenomenon, an anomalous aurora that scientists can't fully explain. When the northern skies light up, nobody bats an eye. But when crimson-violet auroras spill all the way down to Vietnam, Mexico, or even Texas, people realize the heavens are rewriting their rules. What was once a wondrous natural spectacle has turned into a mysterious veil draping the entire world. Stunning, terrifying, like a warning scrawled in light. Viral clips flood social media. Skies bleeding red, glowing sea green, blazing purple like living flame. Folks stand in the dark, heads tilted back, phones forgotten in their hands, speechless. Many shiver, not from the chill, but from a gut feeling that something up there is stirring awake. Scientists jump in fast. They talk about the strongest solar storm in over 2 decades, massive plasma jets erupting from sunspots, Earth's magnetic field bending so far that auroras spill into the tropics. A rarity that's only happened a handful of times in recorded history. Yet even in their explanations, gaps remain. Why does it coincide with a world already teetering? Wars, crises, end times dread, spreading like wildfire. Through the lens of faith, auroras aren't just light. They're a clash between realms, brightness and shadow. Scripture warned that before the great day of the Lord, the sun will darken and the moon turn blood red. Joel 2:31. Now, with the whole sky ablaze in hypnotic ribbons, people wonder, is this heaven's light fighting to pierce humanity's darkness? Many believe those colors aren't random. Red, like the Redeemer's blood. Green, like the breath of life. Purple, like the revelation of power. Every band feels like a call from above, reminding us the light is still there, but only for those who remember to look up. On those nights, beneath a sky streaked with impossible brilliance, more than a few probably ask themselves, if this is a sign, what chapter of the Bible are we in? And maybe, right in that moment, caught between beauty and fear, astronomy and belief, the heavens are quietly sending a message. The light is still fighting, and the final act is near. Scientists are plunging into confusion, while NASA opts for total silence without a single word of explanation. When the sky starts moving in ways even science can't fully explain, humanity has no choice but to ask again, is this just a natural cycle, or a signal that something massive is closing in? The deeper you dig into NASA's latest data, the clearer it becomes. The universe seems to be waking up, and every solar pulse carries a quiet warning. NASA's most recent report reveals the sun is entering its most intense activity phase in centuries. Massive coronal ejections keep firing off, unleashing radiation bursts that mess with Earth's magnetic field, disrupt satellites, and spark auroras in places we've never seen them before. Some scientists are admitting we don't fully understand the rules of this central star anymore. What's striking is how, for thousands of years, the Bible has described these heavenly upheavals as part of God's plan. In Revelation, the Apostle John writes, "And there were great signs in the sky. The sun turned black, the moon became like blood, and the stars fell to earth." Revelation 6:12-13. When you line up that prophecy with what science is witnessing today, from blood-red auroras and ring-of-fire eclipses to eerie sounds booming from the heavens, it sends chills down your spine. NASA researchers have tried simulating these events with cutting-edge tech, but plenty of data still defies full explanation. They're seeing Earth's magnetic field weaken, the sun's poles flip at warp speed, and planets across the solar system showing anomalous behavior. Some experts are now talking about a cosmic resonance, like the whole system is shifting into a phase unlike anything in modern history. But through the lens of faith, these aren't just physical tremors. They're the heartbeat of a divine timeline. The universe isn't chaos. It's being reordered. Every beam of light, every solar storm, every space vibration is building toward a new chapter the prophets foresaw millennia ago. Maybe while science measures the energy, heaven is sending a wordless message. The time is near, and humanity can't afford to keep sleeping under artificial lights. And in this moment, when the cosmos roars with the sun, we might be witnessing the final shift between astronomy and apocalypse, between data and destiny. When humans launch rockets to Mars, build telescopes beyond Earth's orbit, and unravel the very blueprint of the cosmos, a strange paradox unfolds. The further we reach with science, the more we confront questions that defy answers. From sounds echoing across the sky to crosses of light blazing through clouds, every cutting-edge instrument captures it all. Yet no one can fully explain. And here's the wild part. The Bible called these things out thousands of years ago, like a script written in advance, now playing out in real time. Science isn't faith's enemy. It's the language of creation, while faith is the language of the Creator. When those two tongues meet, truth becomes whole. What eyes see and machines record is the body of the universe. What Scripture illuminates is its soul. One side maps out how things happen, the other reveals why they must. These signs in the sky aren't just weird natural events. They're gentle, yet urgent reminders, warnings of a shift drawing near, but also invitations to come home. Every flash of light, every solar storm erupting, every trumpet-like blast in mid-air, they're wake-up calls to human conscience, signaling that the age of grace is winding down. Through a sacred lens, light and darkness stand for the endless clash between redemption and trial. Light marks God's presence. Wherever it shines, life and hope follow. Darkness, by contrast, signals distance, souls adrift. When both appear overhead, like auroras bleeding into eclipses, like blood-red moons against infinite black, that's the world stepping into the turning point the prophets foretold. The miracle today is that humanity is slowly waking up. Believer or atheist, people are starting to wonder, is the sky trying to tell us something? When science hits its wall, faith sparks back to life. When data-driven skeptics finally look up, they discover a language beyond equations, the language of signs, of a call to return. So these phenomena aren't here to scare us. They're here to make us think, not to leave us trembling, but wide awake. Because the moment science and faith lock eyes, the final truth will speak, not in theories, but in light. Those strange lights in the sky, the silent explosions out in space, the stars falling in chains. Have you ever wondered why they're piling up like this? Science is still scratching its head, but the Bible laid it all out thousands of years ago. Maybe what we're seeing isn't just random. It's a gentle heads-up from above. As the 7 seals, 7 trumpets, and 7 bowls in Revelation get cracked open one by one, each step shakes the heavens and the earth. That trumpet blast John heard? It could be the exact trumpet sounds scientists are picking up echoing across the sky right now. Heard them yet? Probably not the wind. It's a call. Old prophecies, from Fatima in Portugal to St. Malachy in Ireland, all talk about a great light flashing before the Son of Man returns. Fatima painted a glow flooding Europe right before World War. Malachy pinned the last pope of the end times. Bit by bit, Scripture's checking every box. Israel's the bullseye for every sign. Whenever history hits a tipping point, all eyes swing to Jerusalem. And get this, the latest heavenly wonder popped up right over that patch of land. Coincidence? Or a signature from on high? The Bible says it plain. From Zion, His light will shine to every nation. The world's watching everything the Bible sketched out unfold at once. Nature raging, climate flipping out, morals in free fall, wars spreading like wildfire. When sky and ground both lose it, can we still call it chance? Could this be the wake-up bell that the day of the Lord is closer than we think? But don't panic. These signs aren't here to wreck us. They're here to snap us awake. They're soft knocks on the door of your soul, reminding us time's slipping faster than it feels. Every streak of light, every trumpet echo, is whispering the same question. Are you ready for that day? Amid the roaring noise of this world, there's one call still ringing out, soft, but impossible to ignore. It's not the crash of thunder or the clamor of war. It's the voice of heaven, gently pulling us back to the simplest truths, faith and love. We've seen the signs, up in the sky, down on the earth, deep in people's hearts. But the greatest sign of all isn't out there somewhere. It's right inside each of us. The moment we look up at the stars and feel how small we are, that's when our souls crack open to meet their Maker. Scripture says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." Matthew 5-8. Now, more than ever, the world needs that purity again, not in theories, but in real deeds. Small acts of kindness that come straight from a heart that knows how to love. Pray, not to demand, but to listen. Every prayer is a thread tying earth to heaven. When you kneel in silence, even alone, the sky is bending close to hear you. That's when God feels nearer than your own breath. Do good, not for applause, but to let the light spread. A word of comfort, a hand extended in grace, a single act of forgiveness. These are how we push back the darkness creeping over the world. Light doesn't need noise to shine. It just needs a spark. Above all, let love be the lamp you carry. A world growing colder doesn't need more arguments. It needs more mercy. When you love someone, truly, you're mirroring a sliver of God's own light. That's the first flicker of a soul coming back to life. No one knows the exact day or hour when the Son of Man returns. But this much is sure. Every awake soul will greet that call with a smile, not fear. They've kept their hearts clean, their love wide open, their faith rock solid. Time may be running short, but hope stretches far. If we'll just pause, look up, and let our hearts answer. Because when this world finally fades, only one thing lasts: God's love, and the souls who learned to love like Him. When the wonders fade, what echoes isn't thunder or trumpets, but heaven's quiet call. Wake up, love fiercely, and live like tomorrow you'll meet Him face to face. If these words stir something in you, help spread that light. A like, a share, or hit subscribe so we can keep chasing truth and hope together. And please drop a prayer in the comments so God can hear your heart's whisper. Who knows? Maybe the very moment you linger is already woven into heaven's plan.
Okay.
But there is a giant truck ahead of us.
Okay.
Let's see if I can drive over it.
All right.
Worship not only to Yahweh, to the true and living God of Israel, but to false gods.
Over which the arches that Emperor Adrian built as a...
The ground shakes. A strange light tears through the night sky. And right beneath Jerusalem, seismographs start picking up a steady pulse, like a human heartbeat, coming from deep within the ancient bedrock. No one can figure out what's happening, but everyone feels it. Something is waking up. From the temple to Shiloh, phenomena follow one after another. Smokeless fire, sounds echoing in midair, ancient wells suddenly warm and glowing like crystal. Science is baffled. The faithful drop to their knees in prayer, and archaeologists, who thought they were used to history's silence, now face a mystery they can't explain. The signal appears, then vanishes. The light flashes, then fades. All that's left is a chilling echo. This isn't natural. Could an ancient prophecy be unfolding right under the holy city? Or is it just coincidence, a meaningless chain of vibrations? Jerusalem stays silent, but the sky doesn't. And this time, it seems like heaven is truly speaking. If you're sensing the world changing in a very strange way, come with me on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because what's coming isn't just information. It might be a sign of something much bigger. Every video is a piece of the puzzle, and when they come together, the picture might send shivers down your spine. And now, brace yourself, because beneath Jerusalem, where prophets once walked, where centuries have been sealed away, researchers have just detected a strange signal. No one knows what it is, or why it's appearing now. All we know is, from that moment on, the silence is gone. We'll uncover together the mysterious discoveries buried beneath Jerusalem for thousands of years. First discovery: mysterious gate warns not to awaken what lies deep beneath the temple. Amid Jerusalem's sun and wind, an international research team quietly works below the Temple Mount area, the most sensitive spot on Earth. They use AI scanning and quantum radar to survey ancient foundations, checking for structural layers at risk of collapse over time. During a routine scan, the system suddenly detected a perfectly symmetrical structure about 18 meters underground. It looks like a gate of stone and metal, completely intact despite millennia of erosion around it. Analysis shows the metal alloy doesn't match any material ever found in the ancient region. On the surface, faint ancient carvings were first thought to be scratches, but under UV light the words stand out. This is the gate not to be awakened. The phrase stunned the team. No one dares claim its true meaning, yet some biblical scholars suggest it may tie to the eastern gate mentioned in Ezekiel, where the glory of the Lord will pass when he returns. Ezekiel 43:1-4. The site has since been temporarily sealed for deeper study. A few engineers say seismic sensors picked up rhythmic vibrations, but the data isn't conclusive yet. Everything remains speculation, yet it's enough to spark global curiosity. What else lies sealed beneath the Temple Mount? Jerusalem, the city of prophets, once again has the world looking up in awe and wonder. Second discovery, miracle at Shinon, where ashes remain, the spirit has not died. Amid the parched hills of Ephraim lies a hill forgotten for thousands of years. Locals call it Shinon, a place few realize is the very edge of Shiloh, where the Ark of the Covenant once rested and where God spoke among Israel. Recently, as the Tel Aviv University archaeology team drilled deeper into the bedrock, they had no idea they were touching something that could shake the history of faith. More than 2 meters down, they uncovered a scorched limestone gate, charred wood fragments, and a layer of black ash mixed with fragrant oil. Scientists analyzed it and confirmed the ash contains frankincense and pure olive oil compounds, matching the description in Leviticus 2:1-3 of the fragrant offering ritual to the Lord. Nearby, animal bones cut in ancient ritual style confirm this was once a sacrificial altar, dating back nearly 3,000 years. One researcher said, voice-breaking, if Shiloh is the heart of faith, here we are hearing its final heartbeat. Those ashes are not just archaeological evidence. They are a sign. Faith may be buried, but it never dies. Even stranger, around the old temple gate, ancient olive trees keep sprouting anew, despite being cut multiple times during excavation. Beneath the churned earth, roots still spread as if searching for the way back. Botanists confirm this is a rare phenomenon, almost impossible in nature. For many, it has become a symbol of resurrection, like the Old Covenant, quietly coming back to life. The ashes, bone fragments, and olive roots may be coincidence, or they may be a whisper from heaven. The ancient covenant still awaits its fulfillment. Could this be the sign of the end times, when what seemed extinguished begins to burn bright again? As Scripture says, ashes will become a crown, and mourning turns to joy. Isaiah 61:3. In the heart of Shiloh's soil, they have found not just the ruins of an ancient rite, but a prophecy rising from the ashes. Faith is buried, but never lost. And when the wind blows through those olive fields, it seems the whisper of the covenant still echoes, calling people back before he returns. Third discovery, mysterious white pillar suddenly rises from the pool of Siloam. Some images, the moment they appear, make the whole world fall silent. And this time, it wasn't in Yellowstone or the Sinai Desert, but right in the heart of Jerusalem. The pool of Siloam, where Jesus once healed the blind man, has suddenly become the focus of millions of eyes. A white column of light rose from the still water. No smoke, no heat, just glowing, like the breath of water. Witnesses say the light didn't burn, didn't give off warmth. It stood motionless in the middle of the pool for 7 minutes and 16 seconds, then vanished like a silver mist. When the survey team arrived, they recorded a luminosity of up to 18,000 lux, equivalent to daylight, but with absolutely no infrared emission. Physicists from the Weizmann Institute had to admit it wasn't plasma, wasn't a chemical reaction, and definitely not an optical illusion. Right where the pillar appeared, a strange carving emerged on the ancient stone. Under ultraviolet light, the shape became clear. The letter Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and the opening letter of God's holy name. No one knows how the symbol got there. The stone layer has been dated to over 2,000 years old. Experts are calling the phenomenon conscious light, a term that doesn't exist in science, but is mentioned often in theology. An elderly priest in Jerusalem simply whispered, "When the light touches the water, it's a sign he is returning." The words echo John 9, where Jesus said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness." And by no coincidence, the pool of Siloam is where he once made the blind man see. Many believe the pillar wasn't just a physical phenomenon, but a reminder from heaven, a miracle of light in the last days. Because Scripture foretold, before the great and dreadful day of the Lord, light will pour down upon the nations. Joel 2:31. The question is, why, in a world drowning in chaos, amid war and crises of faith, does a fire that does not burn appear? Could the one who said, "Open your eyes and see," be preparing to illuminate humanity once more? And if this is the first sign of his return, are we ready to look straight into that light? Fourth discovery, the Shiloh altar, fingerprint of the sacrificial law. Amid the red dust hills of Shiloh, once Israel's first worship center, a small dig left archaeologists holding their breath. It started with a charred stone, but as the dirt was brushed away, they realized it was the base of an ancient altar, one that might hold memories of the Old Covenant. Do you feel a shiver, thinking that where you're looking could be exactly where the Ark of the Covenant once stood? The first find stunned the researchers. Every remaining bone fragment on the altar came from the right side of the animal's body. Not a single left bone. Chemical analysis confirmed it. This was no random chance. Leviticus 7:32 records, "The right thigh belongs to the priest." Those ancient words suddenly came alive amid ashes over 3 millennia old. The soil layer around the altar held a mix of ash, incense, oil, and fired pottery shards, all dated to around 1050 BCE, the exact era when the priest Eli served at the Shiloh sanctuary. Notably, the altar was oriented precisely eastward, as prescribed in the Mosaic Law. "Every detail lines up too perfectly to be coincidence," said Dr. David Ben Eliyahu, the excavation leader. "It's as if someone left a fingerprint of faith." Images from the 3D scanner show the altar surface bears a crescent-shaped depression, like the spot where an offering bowl once rested. The ash and resin still carry a faint whiff of frankincense, the kind used only in worship of Jehovah. The whole team stood silent for minutes, no one speaking. In that air, it felt as if history was breathing right beneath the ground. When the scientific data was released, many moved to tears and called it the altar of the lost covenant, because after thousands of years of being forgotten, every bone fragment, every ash particle now retells the story of an unquenchable faith. Perhaps faith isn't only written in Scripture, it's also carved deep in stone, in soil, in the very place where God set his hand. Could it be that as Shiloh awakens from the dust, it's a reminder to our age that everything buried will one day be revealed, and when ancient signs are illuminated, it's also the moment heaven is preparing to open a new chapter for humanity? Fifth discovery, Pilate's casket, the buried confession. Jerusalem has once again left the world speechless. Just when archaeologists thought they'd mapped every secret of the ancient city, a new discovery near the Western Wall has forced them to rethink everything. A small bronze casket, crusted with centuries of dust, bears the engraved name of Pontius Pilate, the governor who washed his hands before condemning Jesus. The kicker? This casket appears in no historical record. Not a single Roman document ever mentions it. Can you picture it? Buried in Jerusalem's soil, a symbol of Roman authority lying inches from the holiest wall in Judaism. They say the moment the lid was lifted, a cold gust swept through the chamber and every lamp flickered. Inside, 3 gold bars, neatly aligned. Each bar is etched with a crown of thorns and faint Latin script, Manus me lavo, I wash my hands. Experts descended immediately. Isotopic analysis confirms the alloy matches 1st century Roman metal, forged above 1,100 degrees Celsius, technology exclusive to imperial foundries. Stranger still, the Pilatus inscription wasn't hand-chiseled, but cut with a razor-sharp mechanical tool, the kind reserved for royal keepsakes. The question hangs in the air. Did Pilate order the casket himself, or did someone craft it for him to deliver a final message to posterity? As the casket was fully opened, seismographs around the site registered a faint tremor pointing toward the Mount of Olives, 2.4 kilometers away. No one dares call it coincidence. Many believe it was the Earth's reply from the very ground that once heard Jesus pray in Gethsemane. Biblical scholars were quick to grasp the deeper meaning: human sin buried at the foot of the law. 3 gold bars, emblems of greed, power, and betrayal, resting where worship once centered. And the words, "I wash my hands," echo as the voice of conscience, something time cannot bury. When the ground quivered like a held breath, was it merely geology, or a reminder from above that every act, however forgotten by men, remains etched in the memory of the Creator? Perhaps that casket holds more than gold. Perhaps it holds humanity's final confession, awaiting the return of the Righteous One. 6th discovery: ancient water system, living stream, returns. Beneath the cobblestone streets of Old Jerusalem, where generations have walked unaware, a new find is turning heads in archaeology and theology alike. Something is still moving underground, quietly, warmly, and alive after thousands of years of silence. The ancient network of water tunnels, the mikvah purification pools of ancient Israel, has just been reopened after 2,700 years buried. What stunned researchers, the water in these basins is still crystal clear, odorless, and holds a steady 24 degrees Celsius, unusual for the surrounding environment. An archaeologist from Hebrew University said, "It's as if this water never died." In the dim glow of excavation lights, you can see the 7-step staircase descending into the pool, a number tied to perfection and cleansing in biblical tradition. Each step seems to tell the soul's journey from darkness to renewal. Ezekiel 36-25 once wrote, "I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you will be clean." Could this promise be unfolding in the 21st century? When researchers lowered recording devices deep into the tunnels, they caught a strange sound, a steady murmur, like the earth breathing. One expert described it, "It's not a leak. It's like living water, whispering." Some theologians call it the breath of water, a sign that the river from Ezekiel 47 may be preparing to rise. According to the Israel Antiquities Authority, over 37 mikvah pools have been uncovered in the Old City. All connect to a hidden underground network leading toward the Temple Mount. The latest ground-penetrating scans reveal narrow tunnels branching out like veins, as if forming a life source system for something about to awaken at Jerusalem's heart. Many believe this water is more than an archaeological relic. It's a symbol of spiritual life returning. As the ground trembles and the water breathes, many Jews see it as a sign of preparation, that the glory will return to the holy mountain. And if water can truly come back after 27 centuries, is the earth beneath Jerusalem ringing with an ancient prophecy that the day is near? These silent streams are telling a story, and perhaps only those still listening for the call from heaven will understand what is happening. And from there, the wonders began to spread across Israel, as heaven and earth raised their voices together. Anyone who has set foot in the land of Israel in recent months says the same thing. The atmosphere feels different. It's as if all of nature is stirring, brushing against the boundary between the seen and the unseen. From the hills of Galilee in the north to the Negev desert in the south, strange phenomena follow one after another, leaving scientists and the faithful alike admitting something is happening. If you think it's just coincidence, wait and see. Every sign, every echo, every beam of light, they're all coming together into a symphony of creation. and Israel is the very heart of that song. In Judea, where winter is usually barren,